Bonjour YouTube, welcome back with another video. In today's video, we got early access to Varka. He is finally here after 5 freaking years. The Grandmaster of the Knights of Favonius is playable. So in today's video, we're gonna take a look at Varka, his kit, his gameplay, potential team options, etc. I'm not necessarily gonna go over everything like best teams and stuff like that and best combos or anything, but just like a quick overview similar to the preview early access videos that I did. And yeah, we'll give you builds recommendations, weapons, etc. and it's gonna be cool. So hope you enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Remember that this is from the creator server, so it might still change before release, but for now, that's everything we can see. Okay, so first, let's talk about his design. He's super cool. He's the tallest guy in the game, the biggest character, the buffest, the biggest, the most muscular man in the game. He is huge. He's huge, and he has two claymores. Two claymores, so pretty cool. He can dual wield those claymores. Sorry, Gene, I'm messing around in your office, but here we are. So yeah, he has 2 claymores. They are insane. Like his animations are really freaking cool. I love it personally. It's super fun. And his gameplay is also super fun. So Varka is going to be a dual DPS. Basically, with his 2 claymores, he's able to infuse another element in one of his weapons. So he's gonna have an anemo infusion in one of his claymore and another element in the other one. The other element will depend of the characters that you have in your team. He has kind of a special passive that we'll cover a little bit later, but basically his best teams will most of the time include one other anemo character and then 2 other characters from the same element. At the moment, Pyro is probably going to be the best option, but we'll definitely find some other teams with other elements. And he's also going to be an Hexerite character, so similar to the previous characters like Durin, Fischl, Sucrose, etc. He will synergize with them and have specific buffs on top of it if you have another Hexerite character in the team. So to use his infused normal attack, you will need to use his skill, so it's similar to recent characters. You will use his skill, activate his skill, and then he will enter a special stance where his normal attacks will deal a different type of damage. Here, Anemo with 1 claymore and Pyro with the other claymore. And then after you fight for a little bit, you will be able to use a special skill that will deal a bit of extra damage depending of the element that you have in your team. So if your other claymore is infused with Pyro, this skill will deal extra Pyro damage. And yeah, that's basically gonna be his gameplay. So you do your skill, you do some normal attacks that will give you your second skill, and then you will use that skill again, and you can do it twice in one rotation. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. It's pretty fun, but it's still another skill into normal attack characters, similar to Zibai, similar to Skirk. And then his burst is basically a huge nuke that will deal a ton of damage and will deal a large AoE. I will try to make it short to explain his kit and his passive, so we're not spending too much time, and also covering the build. I think it's not gonna be too complicated, so it's gonna be a pretty quick one. So in terms of Ascension materials, first he will require a new boss, and he will use anemo crystals. He will use the precision drive shaft from Nokrai mechanical enemies, the land cruisers, and he will also use the wolf hooks, the local specialty that you can find in Mondstadt near the domain of the wolf boss. And his Ascension stat will be crit damage, so he will gain an extra 38 crit damage from his Ascension. After that, his signature weapon is going to be a signature weapon with 600 base attack, 33 crit rate, which is pretty nice. It will give him some attack speed, 10% attack speed, and basically every time he does normal attacks, skills, or stuff like that, he will gain stacks that will increase his damage up to 30%. So you can get 4 stacks every time you do a normal attack. So every normal attack will stack this buff. It's not one normal, one skill, or something like that. Like it can be anything out of those, and they all stack together. So you can get 4 stacks that will give 7.5% damage bonus for a total of 30%. And on top of that, if you have Hexerite in the team, he will gain 7.5% crit damage per stack as well. So 30% crit damage at full stacks. In terms of weapons option, he has a ton of options. Honestly, like all the claymores in the game almost are great on him. Mawika's claymore is going to be huge on him since he's using his skill. He will get the buff from the passive as well. It's high base attack and he skills with attack and it gives crit rate. So Mawika's weapon is going to be great if you have it. Kinich weapon is going to be okay. Every high base attack weapon that gives some crit or some extra attack is going to be okay. Navia's weapon, Beacon of the Reed Sea is going to be nice as well. Even Eula's weapon, if you happen to have a Song of Broken Pines, it gives some attack. The substat is useless, but it gives some attack, it gives some attack speed as well, and some extra attack as well in the passive, so it's really, really solid. And then Wolf's Gravestone is going to be nice. All the 5-star Claymores, honestly, even Scarred Pride, he needs a little bit of energy, but not too much, so Scarred Pride can be nice as well. And also, Scarred Pride is nice because when you do your burst, after that, your normal attacks will deal some extra damage as well, so overall, it's kind of cool. Most Claymores will be great, and the F2P Claymores are going to be nice as well, like Tidal Shadow. They look nice as well on him. They look really good. Even the Natlan Craftable can be pretty good. It gives some skill damage bonus since you're going to use your skill to deal extra damage as well while you're doing your normal attack combos. It can be decent as well. And then finally, Serpent Spine, of course, the Battle Pass weapon is going to be pretty good. So if you really don't have any 5-star options, I would highly recommend using Tidal Shadow on Varka. In terms of artifact sets, it's going to be very straightforward. You want to go with a day carved from Rising Winds, so the Hexerai set that released in the last patch. It gives attack and it gives crit rate, so it's perfect for him. You could go Viridescent potentially, but since you're already playing with another Anemo character in the team to maximize his passive that we'll cover a little bit later, you will not need really Viridescent on him, since you will already have one in the team. So just go a day carved from Rising Winds. In terms of substats and main stats, you want to look for attack sense, attack goblet, and probably crit rate or crit damage circlet depending what weapon you're using. If you're using a 33 crit rate weapon, since the set also gives 20 crit rate, you might probably want to go crit damage circlet, but it depends once again. And then in substats, you will look for attack, you will look for crit. If you can get a bit of energy, it's kind of nice, but his burst is not as important. It's kind of like Sabai, it's not really too important to use his burst. Now, in terms of talents, same as previous characters, you want to max out his skill. This is going to be the most damage increase for his combos. The normal attack doesn't really do anything because his normal attack scaling is from the skill. As you can see, when you go from normal attack talents to skill talents, it changes the scaling. So the most important one is the skill, and then the burst can be nice. It's a decent amount of damage. It's not crazy, but it's okay. So if you get it, you kind of want to use your burst when you have it. So it's nice, but prioritize the skill absolutely. So his first passive will give him elemental damage bonus scaling on his attack. For every 1000 attack that Varka has, he will gain up to 25% damage bonus. So you want to aim for 2.5k attack to maximize this buff. And he will also gain elemental damage bonus from the elements that you have the most in your team after an MO. So if you have more Pyro, or if you just have Pyro, one Pyro character and one Hydro character, he will gain Pyro damage bonus. If you have two Pyro character, he will gain Pyro damage bonus up to 25% as well. And then the second part of this passive is very specific. To activate this part of the passive, you need absolutely one more Anemo character in the team, and you need two other characters from different elements from Pyro, Cryo, Electro, or Hydro. This will increase his enhanced skill damage by 40%. It says will deal 140% of the initial damage, so it's a 40% damage increase and not a 140% damage bonus. Now, if you have one extra Anemo character and two characters from the exact same element, so not like you need two characters from the same element from the elements mentioned before, enhanced skills of Varka will deal 220% of the original damage instead. On his second passive, he will also gain some damage bonus every time you swell in your team, up to 30%. So with his first passive, 25% damage bonus. With his second passive, 30% damage bonus. So that's why you're really looking for more attack in his artifact, because he was already getting a lot of damage bonus, and also he's kind of dual DPS similar to Chaska. So he has multiple elements, and if you go with a specific elemental damage bonus on the goblet, for example, it will not maximize all of his damage. So you want to look for attack, and then he's getting all the damage bonus necessary from the passives, from the weapons, etc. And then finally, his Hexerai passive makes it so when you have another Hexerai character in your team, his normal attacks will reduce the cooldown of his enhanced skill by 1 every time, by 1 second every time. as opposed to 0.5 seconds when you don't have another XRI character. And then the last passive is kind of an exploration passive. For every Mondstadt character you have in your team, his cooldown on his hold skill will be decreased by 5%. When you hold his skill, you basically just do a massive jump that can be pretty cool for exploration, stuff like that. So if you do a full Mondstadt team, you will be able to jump more often. Constellations, real quick, his C1 is basically very similar to Tsubai's C1, where you will gain an extra use of your skill, not right after you press the skill, but basically here you're stuck with 2 skills. You will be able to use a 3rd skill during your special normal attack stance, which is pretty decent, and the damage is increased as well for the next skills. The C2 is basically every time you use your enhanced skills, it will deal a large AoE damage of anemo damage, which is pretty nice, and scales on Varka's attack up to 800% of his attack. C3 is going to be skill levels. C4 is going to be damage bonus for the rest of your team. So every time Varka swirls, you will gain 20% anemo damage bonus and 20% of the element that Varka swirled. So that's pretty good if you're playing dual element team, which is going to be his best teams. C5 is going to be burst level, and then his C6 is basically you're just going to spam his skill during his special normal attack stance, and it's going to be really freaking fun. He's just going to spam skill, spam charge attack at the same time, and it's going to be a ton of damage. And on top of that, every stacks from his passive will give you 20 crit damage increase, which is equivalent to 80% once you have 4 stacks. So regarding his best teams, I think for now his best team is most likely going to be something like Bennett, Durin, Kazuha. You get the XRI buff with Varka, Durin, and you get a ton of elemental damage bonus with Kazuha Vivi, Kazuha buff, Durin, Red Shred, Bennett, especially if you have C6 as well, you gain some extra pyro damage bonus. And yeah, you just get a ton of damage bonus, a ton of attack as well, and it's perfect synergy with all the characters. It's probably going to be his best team for the moment. So now, if you don't have Durin, you can replace Durin with Shangling and use Sucrose for the Hexerite buff, and it's going to work super well as well. On top of that, Sucrose can use Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayer, so it's really, really good synergy. Now, other mono element teams will be fine. Like, you can do double Electro with basically anyone, double Hydro and stuff like that. It's not going to be as good, of course, because most other elements don't give as much attack buffs and stuff like that for Varka and for the overall team. But anything works with dual element. Now, it's not necessarily gonna be the best DPS teams overall. Like, Varka's DPS is not gonna be insane at the moment, at least. He's not on par with Nefer, Flint, or Zibai at the moment, but he's still pretty solid. But his personal DPS is not gonna be the highest, so other teams with more sub DPS supports in the team, off-field DPS, can deal very, very good damage, and potentially more than if you just funnel all the buffs into Varka. For example, you can definitely use Farina with Varka with Bennett. You will get the Bennett buff, you will get Farina elemental damage buff as well, Kazuha buff, you get the double Anemo still, so instead of getting the 220% from original damage from Varka passive, you only get 140%, but you will gain Farina damage bonus, which is really, really huge. And also Farina's personal damage is pretty nice in this team as well, so you potentially can double swirl as well, so you can get a decent amount of damage bonus. Of course, most of the time you will want to try to keep an Hexerite character, so instead of Kazuha, if you have no other Hexerite character in the team, you'd like to have Sucrose. Binifa, as usual, is going to be a great team as well. Lots of damage here. You get Viridescent, and you on top of that have a very solid on-field character that can take the on-field time while the rest of your team does off-field damage. So this is going to be a great team as well, and probably one of his best teams actually. And then after that, you can pretty much experiment with whatever you want in terms of elements. You gotta keep in mind that you need Pyro, Cryo, Electro, or Hydro in the team for his passives to work, and at least one other Hexerite character and an Emo character to at least get some buffs for Varka and get the Viridescent as well. But other than that, the other 2 slots can be pretty flexible, and you can have a lot of fun with it and with the reactions. Now, in terms of combos, you will basically set up your whole rotation similar to other teams, where you will use your supports before Varka, and then once everything is set up, you will go to Varka, use your skill, do normal attacks, use your enhanced skill, use your burst if you have it, and then restart your rotation. So let's say with Bennett, Durin, Sucrose, you will start by using Durin, use Bennett burst, Sucrose swirl, and then go on Varka and use your whole rotation on Varka. Bennett is not necessarily like insanely good with Varka, just because his duration on the burst is a little bit awkward. Like, you will end up your rotation with Varka potentially without Bennett Burst, so not all your damage will be buffed, but it's still probably the best team for him, at least for Monopyro. And then after that, that's basically it, honestly. As I said earlier, I think some of his best combos will be to do 3 normal attacks, so get that double spin and then dash and then repeat, rather than doing the full normal attack combo, because the last animations are really slow, really long, and they're not really benefiting you that much, so probably best to do it this way. And in terms of strength, with a pretty average build and barely optimized setups, I'm able to clear fearless difficulty of Stygian Onslaught, of Top Boss, with Monopyro, with Pinefa, with some other teams as well. So overall, his DPS is solid. He's able to clear endgame properly, so if you like the character, he's definitely not a bad DPS, and he's really, really fun to play. His animations are really cool. He's badass. He's the biggest guy in the game, so honestly, I'm pretty happy with how he turned out, and hopefully he's gonna get even better in the future. Who knows? I'm excited for that, but yeah, if you're excited for Varka, honestly, go get him. He's pretty cool. Yeah, that's basically it for this early access video. Hopefully it was helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video, probably for some more guides, tips, and then yeah, I'll probably have some videos for Varka as well when he releases. Have a beautiful day. Take care of yourself.